To realize this great opportunity, we appreciate the fundamental need to de-risk our politics and economics, which would reduce the premium sought by prospective investors. Part of that process is to build trust and confidence and to lead by example. I believe that our record over the last year shows this to be so. Dear friends, let me conclude. Ethiopia has embraced a great vision and embarked on bold reforms. Improving the political environment and the business climate is our priority. Building an open society and a vibrant economy is our shared aspiration and our proposition to you, but we must all act fast. Our record over the last 9 months should illustrate our resolves. This is an agenda for action, a blueprint for a model of virtuous and sustainable growth. Looking at what we have accomplished in less than a year, I am optimistic and excited about the opportunities that are ahead. Ethiopians are born runners and we excel in marathons. Take it as a signal of our intention and level of commitment and stamina. Now is our time. Rating agencies forecast, and I quote, that growth will average 8% over 2018 to 2021, making Ethiopia the fastest growing of the sovereign world. I say to you, carpe diem, yes, seize the day, but also trust the future. Come and see what we have to offer and invest in our potential. Whether you are an entrepreneur, a CEO, or an industrialist, or just a lover of nature, or history, or beauty, Ethiopia has something for you. I thank you.
Thank you so much, Prime Minister. I think you also heard from the warm applause that there is so much goodwill related to your leadership. But as you said, it's a marathon, but it has to be also, you have to run fast, and you're good at that. What you don't think about when you come to Addis, if you do run, is the altitude. So for foreigners, it's a big challenge. This morning we had also a session on Ethiopia and your leadership. And one of the experienced humanitarians said that when he was in Ethiopia a year ago and asked his people, they would say that they would have most loyalty to their tribe, they felt like that was their identity, then it was Africa, and then it was Ethiopia. When he was back a month ago, the same people said, I now have strongest identity as an Ethiopian, and then African, and then tribe third. How have you managed to change this in 7 months? I think other leaders could learn. Maybe even in Europe, huh?
Some 9 months ago, the situation in Ethiopia, as you have stated, was very bad. The near possibility of state collapse, mainly due to the government respond to the public political and economic demand pushed the nation into dangerous course. What makes the situation more dangerous was the poor relationship among the leadership. There was misunderstanding, mistrust, and mutual suspicion among the top leadership. Due to this problem, we collect data from different sources. We analyze using different techniques and mechanisms. And definitely, if you use different sources and different mechanisms to analyze the information, the output cannot be identical. So having or seeing the problem from different perspective, we can't find a solution to solve the problem and to change the situation. To make long story short, when the situation gets worse, we sat for weeks to discuss and to evaluate as a party. Then we have achieved, finally we have achieved leadership change. Not only leadership change, but also peaceful power transfer, which is a very rare experience in Africa. Right after the change, the new leadership decided to listen from the public, the opinion, the grievances, so as to make a communal solution to resolve the current problem of that time. Then we have discussed with almost all corners of the country. We have traveled and we have discussed with the public to hear their grievances and their demands. Mainly, their demand were they complained about the government, about our indecision, also the widespread injustice, both in politics and economics, as well human rights violation. What we did was we didn't undermine the public grievance. We just sat and evaluate all questions which came across the country. Though we prioritize to fix some of the problems in quick wins and others in institutional reform. Like I mentioned before, we automatically lifted state of emergency. That was one of the questions of the public, and released thousands of prisoners, including journalists. Today, we don't have a single journalist in prison, and we are proud of that.
That's also rare these days, huh?
If you are open-minded and open-hearted, you can learn. It's not bad sometimes to learn from Africa as well. Anyways, not only this, we also invite all opposition parties. We're based abroad. Not only opposition party, but also waged armed struggle against the government. They all are back now. We don't have any opposition party abroad. We're discussing how to change the political landscape and how to make the upcoming election democratic, free, and a better one compared to the previous one. These kinds of action change the mind of many Ethiopians, that the hope is there, the possibility of change also there. Then automatically, after we have done these quick wins, we jump to institutional reform, including SSR reform, security service reform. There was one of the biggest complaints on security institutions and service. Also, we reduced cabinet from 28 to 20, and we realized gender parity in our cabinet. So by doing so, we could gather most of the extreme thoughts to the center. But still, we have to do more. We're not satisfying on our reform. We have to include all kinds of thoughts to change Ethiopia. Ethiopia is a very great country, and the government must play its great role so as to bring Ethiopia together and to be Ethiopian first.
I think you... I'm just wondering, Prime Minister, we know that the war with Eritrea has been going on for a long time, and Ethiopia has no port. It's a huge country. It has 100 million people. But I'm just wondering, how did you dare just travel up to Asmara, meet with then Yesaya, and then declare peace between those two countries? Weren't you concerned with setbacks? The military would be upset. You know, there is probably a lot of people, even inside your country, questioning this.
Coming to Davos is more dangerous than going to Asmara for me. Because there's big difference, at least in terms of weather. The most important thing is this.
I think you're cordially welcome, though, huh?
The issue of conflict in our region, mainly it's problems of leaders, ego. There is no tangible reason. When we are together, we can make significant change in our society. When we are apart, both of us are killing each other and losing all the opportunities and begging far to the Western world. So my question to the region is not only to resettle the problem, but also economic integration. There is no need to have different army in Ethiopia, in Eritrea, in Djibouti. I don't believe in this. There is no need to have foreign embassy here in Switzerland for each of East African countries. We can share because we're poor. We have to allocate that resource to change the life of our society. That's why I go there and President Isaias and the people of Eritrea was welcoming. Things are resolved as you said.
And also IGAD as a single market, maybe?
That's the vision. We are working toward this integrations of that region.
And you're not, of course, hearing all the progress you have made and all the reforms, you're not afraid of any setbacks? You're introducing new reforms. Seems like you are on a track here. Are you never concerned that there will be forces that want setbacks?
Who do you afraid? I'm engaging the public. As long as the public is behind me, I don't afraid and we'll make a change.
I think that's a wonderful end to this conversation. I think we are very privileged to have you here in Davos, Prime Minister. I think also a lot of business CEOs I see here, and I know you met with them, are very interested in investing in your countries. And I think you're also undertaking a lot of economic reforms.
Yeah, there are lots of reforms taking place in Ethiopia, especially opening up the economy. We are opening state-owned companies, which we have been considering as a commanding heights for years, including Ethio Telecom and Ethiopian Airlines. This opening up will bring lots of capital and expertise to Ethiopia, and it will boost the pace of our economic growth. And we are open for any investors. And we're also changing our ease of doing business. There is a strong team under my office, which is changing lots of hindering factors for investors to come and invest in Ethiopia. I hope in the next 2-3 years, we can see the biggest change in investment flow to Ethiopia.
Thank you. And you can also count on the World Economic Forum to be a partner in that transformation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.